Survival craft games are finally starting to feel exciting again. It isn't that the old formula is bad. Honestly, waking up in the middle of nowhere, grabbing a rock, and just trying to stay alive still works. That loop is popular for a reason, but the new wave of games is doing so much more with it. We aren't just getting another generic forest with another axe and another campfire. We're looking at magical realms, the ruins of Rome, frozen trains, Wild West homesteads, and even one fantasy planet so massive it sounds like a total fever dream. So today on Magic Game World, we're breaking down the best open-world survival craft games to keep on your radar for 2026 and beyond. Some are right around the corner, and a few are still a ways off, but every single one of these has a hook that makes it worth the hype. Let's start with something a bit more magical. Witchspire is basically survival crafting meets cozy fantasy. Instead of being some unlucky survivor with no shoes, you're stepping into a vibrant world built around spellcasting, alchemy, and creature companions. It shifts the vibe from "can I survive the night" to "can I build a cool magical life with my friends?" If the progression has enough meat on its bones, this could easily build a huge community when it hits early access on June 10th. Moving from magic to a total Roman disaster, Romestead drops you into a version of Rome that has completely fallen apart. You're navigating a city in ruins and trying to rebuild something out of the wreckage. We've seen a million forests and zombie islands, but rebuilding after the fall of Rome? That feels a lot fresher. It's got survival, farming, and town building all rolled into one, supporting up to 8 players in co-op. Look for that one to drop on May 25th. If you're looking for something much colder, Frostrail is built around a steam-powered train pushing through a frozen wasteland. Your train isn't just a vehicle, it's your base, your workshop, and the only reason you aren't a human popsicle. It's definitely darker and more action-heavy than some of its peers. The world stays hostile, and every stop you make to scavenge is a massive risk. It's currently aiming for an early access release toward the end of 2026. Now let's trade the frozen tracks for some frontier dust and talk about Red Rust Pioneers. This one drops you right into the American West in 1842. It's got that classic homestead feel where you're hunting, farming, and turning a tiny canvas tent into a proper log cabin ranch. The big thing here is how much the world pushes back. If you get caught in a rainstorm, you don't just get a wet icon. You're going to get cold, and being wet makes your tolerance to the freezing nights way worse. The building system is also a huge standout. You aren't just dropping prefab houses from the sky. You're actually snapping together log walls with proper corner joints and adding porches to create something that looks like it belongs in the valley. It's all about that long-term progression, alone or with up to 4 players in co-op. It's currently slated for a 2026 launch, and after a year of steady updates, it's looking like a top-tier survival experience. Staying with the frozen theme but upping the stakes, Permafrost takes place in a world buried under ice. The cold isn't just scenery here, it's the main antagonist. Much like how the ocean feels in Subnautica, the temperature in Permafrost is constantly trying to wear you down. You'll need a solid plan and some serious gear if you want to make it. It supports 4-player co-op and is easily one of the most serious survival titles to watch in 2026. Then we have the big mystery, Light No Fire. This is the next project from the Hello Games team, and the scale they're talking about is wild, a giant fantasy planet the size of Earth. We're talking giant mountains, oceans, and a shared world where you can actually explore every inch of it. There's no firm date yet, and we still don't know exactly how deep the survival mechanics go, but the potential is just massive. If they pull this off, it's going to be a game changer. On the lighter side, Good Heavens is a playful crafting RPG where you can be a warrior, a mage, or even a carpenter. It's not trying to crush your soul every 5 minutes. It's more about exploration and building chaos with your friends. If you want a strange world to mess around in without the constant dread, this one hits in July and looks like a blast. For something completely different, Category 6 focuses on surviving after the worst hurricane in human history. No monsters or magic here, just a grounded, gritty world that has been physically torn apart. You're scavenging through ruins and navigating a landscape that barely functions anymore. It's a unique take on survival that relies on atmosphere and tension, and it should be landing on Steam fairly soon. If you like mobile bases, EverRail is a must-watch. It's set in a frozen world where your base is a train that literally never stops moving. You're building it up, expanding the cars, and rescuing survivors along the way. But there's a catch. Every time you die, you lose a passenger. If the train runs out of people, it's game over. It's scheduled for early access around the middle of 2026. Subnautica 2 is obviously the heavy hitter here, and it actually officially launched into early access today. The hype is real, and the reviews are already flooding in with some seriously positive feedback. It takes everything we loved about the first games and finally adds 4-player co-op. Exploring those alien oceans and building deep-sea bases with a crew is going to be a total trip. A lot of fans were worried that co-op might ruin that signature sense of isolation, but seeing how people are reacting to it today, it looks like they've managed to keep that eerie atmosphere perfectly intact. For a more Solarpunk vibe, the appropriately named Solarpunk takes place on floating islands where you use renewable energy to power your base and your airship. It's a lot more peaceful and focuses on building a beautiful, functioning ecosystem rather than just scraping by. That one is confirmed for a June 8th launch. Finally, EXONAUTIS heads back underwater on a sci-fi exoplanet. It's definitely going to get compared to Subnautica, but its focus on deep-sea mystery and specialized gear upgrades gives it its own flavor. If they can nail that balance of beauty and danger, it'll be a great one to wrap up 2026 with. The survival genre is clearly branching out into some wild directions, and it's a great time to be a fan. My personal top 3 are Light No Fire, Subnautica 2, and Permafrost, but honestly, any of these could end up being a surprise hit. Let me know which one you've got your eye on, and as always, thanks for hanging out with us at Magic Game World.